This is an MMA Insiders with Jason Floyd and Sam Caplan quick fix on Radio Influence.
There's a lot I don't know about this deal, but there are some things I do know. And I do know that Darren Rovell, his reporting is accurate. And I can tell you that his reporting is accurate because I know for a fact that there is a Chinese company that has hired consultants to kind of give them the lay of the land of the MMA landscape. And I believe that's probably how Darren Rovell, and I could be wrong, but that's my guess as to how Darren Rovell became tipped off about this. Because it is a Chinese group, but there also are other, bidders. I mean, William Morris, Endeavor, China Media Capital, the Blackstone Group, and then Dalian Wanda Group. I mean, those are the four main groups, but I'm hearing that there could be as many as two other groups. This is an open bidding process. And that's why I think Dana White trying to downplay this, I think this one is, and we've talked about rumors about the UFC being sold quite a few times on this show during the brief history of this show. And I can tell you, as someone who's been around the MMA scene for a long time, the UFC has been, they were trying to get out as early as 2003. A little bit different circumstances back then. That was around the time that they had almost finished pumping $44 million into the company, and really they were desperate to try to get any traction, and they couldn't get any traction. And the Fertittas at that point wanted just to dump it and get out. They felt it was a money pit, and Dana White, wisely talked them out of doing that. But the point is, these rumors have been going on for years and years and years. However, the fact that there's so many named potential bidders, and the bidders that's the operative word there. There's bidding going on. The fact that there's a bidding war now for the UFC and they're openly soliciting bids from multiple companies, this says to me it's for real, and it wouldn't surprise me within the next 3 to 4 months if the UFC sold. Now, it could be only a small percentage, similar to what Flash Entertainment did, but I've talked to sources that said no, that the whole enchilada could go here, that the Fertittas, they're open to both types of investments, but if they can get that 3.5 to 4 million valuation honored by one of these companies, they're going to do it because the Fertittas are smart businessmen. And you buy low and you sell high. They bought the UFC as low as they could get it for, $2 million. I mean, that's practically nothing for men like the Fertittas. So they bought low. Now's the time to sell high because their 2015 year, as far as pay-per-view revenue, was nothing short of remarkable, especially when you compare it what it was to 2014. It was quite a comeback year for them business-wise. I mean, 2014 was not a great business year for the UFC, not a great business year for Zuffa, and they really came back in 2015, and it probably reinforced something that they already knew, that a lot of this is luck and subjective. When you're talking about trying to make hundreds of millions of dollars on pay-per-view with athletes who get injured all the time, so much of it is left to chance. And they had a good 2015 coming off a disappointing 2014. 2016, we with the issue with McGregor and Ronda coming off that loss and not knowing when she's going to compete again. John Jones is back, but who knows? We could find out tomorrow that there's a new controversy surrounding him and that his probation's revoked and he's going to jail. I mean, so there's a lot that could go right, looking into the future of the UFC, but there's also a tremendous potential for a downside there as well. And I think the Fertittas are very mindful of that fact. And I think that they want to sell high, and I think that they're going to. I think that we're going to see the UFC change hands within the next 3 months.
The MMA Insiders with Jason Floyd and Sam Caplan can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, and RadioInfluence.com.